My father once told me I did not have what it takes to lead the family business. He said it in front of our entire family at his 60th birthday party, while 200 guests watched me stand there in complete silence. 12 years later, I sat across from him in the boardroom he built from nothing. It all started in a freezing garage the winter I turned 20, when I invented something that would change everything. Before I tell you how I turned my father's rejection into his biggest regret, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from today. Hit that like button and subscribe if you believe the people who doubt you the most sometimes fuel your greatest success. Now let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Alfred Brennan. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a family where success was measured by how loud you could command a room. My father, Harold Brennan, built Brennan Industrial Solutions from a tiny garage into a company worth tens of millions of dollars. He manufactured industrial equipment, pressure valves, filtration systems, things most people never think about but cannot live without. He was a self-made man, and he never let anyone forget it. My mother, Eleanor, passed away when I was 12. Cancer took her slowly, and when she was gone, something in our house went cold. She was the one who noticed me, who sat with me in the garage while I took apart old machines just to see how they worked. After she died, my father buried himself in the company, and my older brother Derek became his shadow. Derek was 4 years older than me. He was tall, handsome in that classic American way, with broad shoulders and a smile that made people trust him instantly. He could walk into a room and own it within 5 minutes. My father saw himself in Derek, and from the moment I can remember, Derek was being groomed to take over everything. I was different. I was shorter, thinner, wore glasses, and preferred the quiet of the garage to the noise of dinner parties. While Derek learned to shake hands with investors, I learned to rebuild engines. While Derek memorized sales pitches, I memorized engineering formulas. My father would take Derek to business meetings when he was just 16 years old. When I asked to come along once, my father looked at me like I had asked something absurd. He said, "You stay home and read your books. This is not really your world." I remember one summer when I was 14. I found an old air compressor in the garage that my father had given up on. It had been sitting there for 2 years, rusted and broken. I spent 3 weeks taking it apart, cleaning every piece, replacing what I could, improvising what I could not. When I finally got it running again, I was so proud I ran to show my father. He barely looked at it. He said, "Next time ask before you touch my things." That was it. No, thank you. No, good job. Just a reminder that even the garage was not really mine. But I never stopped. I kept building, kept learning, kept believing that one day he would see what I could do. When I graduated high school, I got accepted to Carnegie Mellon University on a full scholarship to study mechanical engineering. It was one of the best programs in the country. The day I got the acceptance letter, Derek was home from his business internship. My father took us all out to dinner to celebrate, but somehow the conversation kept turning back to Derek's new sales numbers. My scholarship was mentioned once briefly like an afterthought. My father did not come to my college orientation. He was too busy taking Derek to meet potential clients in Chicago. But I told myself it did not matter. I would prove myself through my work. In my junior year, everything changed. I was working on a project for my advanced engineering class, and I developed something I had been thinking about for years. It was a completely new design for a pressure regulation valve. Traditional valves were bulky, expensive, and inefficient. My design was smaller, more precise, and cost about 30% less to manufacture. My professor looked at my blueprints and told me I was sitting on something with massive commercial potential. That summer, I brought my designs home. I was so excited I could barely sleep the night before I showed my father. I set up a presentation in his home office, laid out all my calculations, explained how this could revolutionize the industry. My father listened. Derek sat next to him, arms crossed, looking bored. When I finished, my father nodded slowly. He said, "Interesting idea. But you are still a student. Let Derek take a look at this and see if there is anything practical here." He handed my designs to Derek like they were rough drafts that needed adult supervision. I waited. 2 weeks. A month. 3 months. No one called. No one asked me anything. Then I visited home for Thanksgiving, and I saw something that made my stomach drop. On my father's desk was a company brochure featuring a new product line, pressure regulation valves, my design. or something so close to it that there was no way it was a coincidence. At the company holiday party that year, my father stood up and praised Derek for his innovative thinking and technical vision. The whole room applauded. I stood in the back holding a glass of wine I could not bring myself to drink. I called my father the next day and asked about the valves. He said Derek had improved on my concept and made it production ready. He said I should focus on finishing school instead of worrying about business matters. That night, I made a decision that would define the next decade of my life. I did not argue. I did not fight. Instead, I called my college friend Marcus, who was studying law with a focus on intellectual property. I asked him one question: how do I protect something? I invented Marcus, introduced me to a patent attorney, and within 2 months, I filed my first patent. The original design with all the technical specifications that Derek did not understand and had left out of the company version. The patent was granted under my name, Alfred Brennan, not Brennan Industrial Solutions, just me. My father never knew. Why would he? He never paid attention to the technical details. That was beneath him. Derek definitely did not know. He could not tell a patent filing from a grocery receipt. Over the next 2 years, I kept inventing. Every time I had a new idea, I filed a patent first. Then I would share a simplified version with my family, watching as Derek and my father took credit for things they did not understand. I patented an advanced industrial filtration system, a corrosion-resistant piping design, an automated pressure monitoring system, 7 patents in total. By the time I graduated, I was not planning revenge. Not then. I was just protecting myself. I still loved my family. I still hoped that one day my father would look at me and see what I had built. I kept the patents in a box under my bed like a secret insurance policy I prayed I would never need. When I graduated with honors top of my engineering class, my father did not attend the ceremony. He was opening a new branch with Derek. I got a card in the mail with a check for $500. The note said, "Congratulations. Make us proud." I had job offers from 3 major engineering firms. But I turned them all down. Against every rational instinct, I went to work for my father's company. I wanted to believe things could change. I started at Brennan Industrial Solutions in the lowest engineering position available. My father insisted on it. He said I needed to learn the business from the ground up. Never mind that I had a degree from one of the best engineering schools in the country. Never mind that I had already invented technology the company was using every day. I was given a small desk in a shared office and tasks that an intern could have handled. Derek, meanwhile, had a corner office with windows overlooking the city. He had a personal assistant. He drove a company car. He attended every executive meeting while I was left to review equipment maintenance logs. But I kept my head down. I kept working. I kept hoping. There was one moment when I thought things might change. I developed a solution that would cut production costs by 15%. It was elegant, efficient, and I was proud of it. I wrote up a full proposal and submitted it to my supervisor, who told me to present it to Derek first. Company protocol. I sat in Derek's office for 20 minutes, explaining every detail. He nodded along, took notes, asked a few basic questions. 2 weeks later, there was a company-wide meeting. Derek stood at the front of the room and presented my exact solution word for word as his own idea. My father beamed with pride from his seat in the front row. He leaned over and whispered, "I know that was yours. Everyone who matters knows." But knowing did not change anything. Months passed. I kept inventing, kept filing patents, kept watching Derek take credit. But I told myself it was fine. I was building something. I was preparing for a future I could not yet see. Then came my father's 60th birthday. It was the biggest party he had ever thrown. Over 200 people filled the grand ballroom of the most expensive hotel in Pittsburgh. Business partners, old friends, distant relatives, everyone who mattered in my father's world was there. I arrived alone, wearing a suit I had bought with 3 months of savings. Derek arrived with his new wife, Amanda, daughter of one of my father's biggest clients. Their marriage was as much a business merger as a romance. My father greeted Derek at the entrance with a warm embrace. When I walked in, he gave me a nod, the same nod he might give the valet. The night was full of toasts and speeches. Then my father took the stage. The room fell silent as he spoke about his journey, his struggles, his triumphs. Then he talked about the future. I have 2 sons, he said, and my heart lifted for just a moment. Derek has proven himself to be everything a father could hope for in a successor. He has the vision, the charisma, the leadership that this company needs. When I step down, he will take my place as CEO. The room erupted in applause. Derek stood to accept the praise, shaking hands, hugging my father. Then my father continued. My younger son Alfred is here too. He gestured vaguely in my direction. 200 heads turned to look at me. Alfred is a good boy, hard worker. But some people are born to lead, and some people are born to support. Alfred will always have a place in this family and in this company, just not at the top. A few people laughed. Not cruel laughter, but the polite, uncomfortable kind that is somehow worse. I stood there frozen while my father smiled and raised his glass. I put down my wine. I walked out of the ballroom. I walked past the coat check, past the valets, into the cold Pittsburgh night. No one followed me.